Welcome to Exchange Expedition 24, a documentary series by the Capital Market Club of Royal College. In this episode, we explore the journey and the role of the Colombo Stock Exchange. Today, we are joined by the Chief Executive Officer of the CSE, who offers valuable insights into the exchange's evolution and its vision for Sri Lanka's financial future.
Can you start by giving us a brief history of the Colombo Stock Exchange and its evolution over the years?
Okay, so when you talk about share trading in Sri Lanka has a history of over 100 years. It was originally started to finance the tea plantations in the country, and those tea companies needed capital, and that's how a exchange was started. The stock exchange in this present form is now 40 years. It had its origins in 1985. It's a company limited by guarantee where the government got involved and set up formally an institution that will manage the stock market in Sri Lanka that was operating for a long time. Up till that time, the brokers had a brokers association called the Colombo Brokers Association, and they managed the affairs of the stock exchange. But with the involvement of the government and then subsequently an act, a Securities and Exchange Commission Act being passed and a regulator being appointed, matters are formalized of share trading in Sri Lanka. And then the Colombo Stock Exchange was incorporated in 1985 as a company limited by guarantee. So it has a history of about 40 years in its present state. So it is only after that in 1990, for example, where Sri Lanka opened up its doors for foreign investment by removing a key barrier, and that barrier was 100% tax imposed on share transactions. So by removing the tax, they allowed foreign investors to come into the stock market in Sri Lanka, and that was the start of the growth of the capital market or the stock market. Then thereafter, another significant development was the automation. Under a USAID project, the first phase of automation was created in 1991 when we established the central deposit system, which automated the issuance of share certificates. So we went on a complete dematerialization or converting paper to electronic form. So that was the first phase of electronification or going automated in the market. That again fueled a lot of volumes and activity because we went scriptless. Then the second wave of automation came in 1997 when we automated the trading part of it. So now you have both the post-trade and the trading automated, and that again brought in a new phase of infrastructure development into the market. So when you trace back the 40 years, the market has undergone some significant development in terms of infrastructure, in terms of rules and regulation, and in terms of the market volumes and size. So currently, if you look at the market today, we have a market capitalization of nearly 5 trillion in rupee terms. We also have opened over 900,000 serious accounts, and daily trading volumes for a particular day will be in excess of about 1.6 billion a day for this year. So fairly significant volumes, and we have seen growth. Then as a stock exchange, as an institution, I think we have grown from about 20 people when we started off in 1985. Today we have a staff of about 185, representing about 12 different divisions. And we also have a branch network of 10 branches that we have opened, and we are represented in each of the 9 provinces. In addition to that, we have built up a fairly substantial reserve to ensure the financial stability of the company. We have a reserve of about 6 billion rupees, which in turn funds the day-to-day operations and the development of it. So today, if you take the Colombo Stock Exchange, we are firmly established as one of the key markets in the frontier space, as a frontier market, competing with countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, which are all frontier markets for foreign investment. We have a healthy foreign investment flow into the market as well, fully automated end-to-end, from the time one opens an account up to the time you trade and settle. So we have fully automated environment, and we operate on global standards and on globally accepted principles of running a stock market and a stock exchange. We are also members of the World Federation of Stock Exchanges, which is a world body which has a representation from all the recognized and well-run stock exchanges globally. So as an exchange, I think over the 40 years, we have come a long journey and established foremost placed both locally and internationally.
What are the core objectives of the CSE in the context of Sri Lanka's financial market?
So our vision is to create wealth. So stock markets and capital markets are all about creating wealth. So our mission is creating wealth for stakeholders, whether it be investors, whether it be listed companies, whether it be market intermediaries like investment managers, stockbrokers, unit trust companies, investment banks, etc. Our vision is to help people create wealth, and that's why we use that as our vision statement, creating wealth for stakeholders. Then in that we have several objectives, or our vision as it were. One hand is to provide and facilitate companies, both in the private sector and the government sector, to raise capital that they need to fund their companies, to grow their companies, to expand, to set up new companies. We will facilitate the raising of debt and equity capital. So that's one of the primary functions or objectives of the exchange. Then on the other hand, we also provide an avenue for people to invest their money and make a return out of it. So for investors, it's an avenue where they can invest and obtain a good long-term return. So for investors, that's one of the key objectives again is that. Then in addition to that, we also have the objective of maintaining a fair and orderly market for the trading of securities. So we have a set of rules and regulations within the stock exchange to ensure that everybody who participates in the market does so in a organized manner, adhering to a set of rules and regulations, so that we make the market transparent and fair and equal opportunity for everyone who participates. For example, the rules stipulate that disclosures are made in a timely manner to everyone at the same time, so that as an investor you have access to information relating to these companies in a timely fashion. Then we also have market infrastructure, where we provide up-to-date technology and connected services to enable investors to come and invest easily, at the same time for companies to come and raise the capital also in a hassle-free manner. So that involves infrastructure such as the ability for any investor from any part of the world to onboard themselves into the market by using, for example, a mobile phone. So you don't have to go into a stockbroker's office or a bank and fill up forms, etc. anymore. You can use your mobile phone and access the market, onboard yourself, register yourself with a stockbroker, use internet banking and transfer money electronically, and then get access to trading, where you can do your own research, you can look at the market, watch the market, study the market, and then do your own trading activity by yourselves. And then when it comes to settlement of, for example, any shares that you bought for, you can do that electronically through a your internet banking as well. So end to end, even without getting up from your seat, you can onboard yourself and trade and settle in the market using a mobile phone. So a lot of accessibility has been given, and that's one of the core objectives of ours, where we provide the proper infrastructure to enable stakeholders to make use of the market. So these are some of the key objectives that we have in running and operating the stock market.
How does the CSE contribute to the economic growth of the country?
So one of the key objectives of the stock exchange is about raising capital. Now, as you know, when you take a business, in order for the business to expand, or if you want to set up a new business, you need capital. And there are different ways where you can raise capital. You can raise money from your friends and family. You can raise money from the bank. You can reach out to other investors like angel investors or other venture capital companies or other investors who would like to invest in your business. Or you also have the option of reaching out to public markets, or what we call capital markets, issue shares and then or issue debt and raise capital. So what the market will do is to facilitate that process, where companies, when they need large amounts of capital, that can be facilitated through the stock market. Now, when that capital raising function takes place, there is an economic benefit to it, which means the company or a business that's going to set up a business, it will create jobs. It will, by producing goods and services, it will contribute to the GDP of the economy. And therefore, there is a direct linkage between economic growth, economic development, and raising capital through the stock market. So that's the economic function of the market, where we help to grow the economy through the facilitation of capital. Now, for example, if you look at this year, for 2024, the stock market has facilitated over 150 billion in both debt and equity capital being raised to the market. So there is a significant contribution we are making to the effort of businesses raising capital to fund their operation, which means businesses are expanding and then contributing to GDP. So that's one of the primary functions. Then another function that comes out of it is about this, it being a barometer of investor confidence. So when you look at the stock market and the movement of share prices in the market, you will find that it reflects the sentiment of investors very well. Now we have price indices called the All Share Price Index and the S&P SL20 Price Index, which measures the movement of prices on a real-time basis every day. So this is a reflection of how the market is moving, of course, based on demand and supply of the shares. Now in this, what one can gauge is about the investor confidence and the sentiment. So apart from all the other factors, the economic factors plus the company factors, which will contribute to the movement of prices, you will also find that the investor confidence is also reflected in the movement of those indices and the movement of the market. So another important factor in stock market is that it also acts as a barometer of investor confidence. So these are the key elements when we talk about the connection between the economy and the market. Now another aspect which I need to talk about is how important is the capital market in relation to the overall economy. Now how we measure it is by using a measurement called GDP, market capitalization to GDP. Now generally how you measure the importance and the size of a market is by taking the market capitalization, which means you're essentially taking all of the issued shares multiplied by the market price, and we take that figure as a percentage, that is then you arrive at a market capitalization figure. So you relate the market capitalization to GDP of the country and arrive at a ratio, a percentage. Now, in our case, the market capitalization to GDP ratio is currently at about 20%. But if you take some overseas markets, for example, in Malaysia or India, in Malaysia is over 100%. If you look at India, it's about 80%. So, the importance of the market or the representation of the economy in the market is fairly high. So that way we have a long way to go in terms of when you're looking at the market in relation to the overall economy. So there's a lot of room for development in the Sri Lankan context when compared with some of the other countries in the region. So in summary, capital markets have an important role, I believe, in the overall economy and the economic progress of a country.
What challenges do you foresee for the CSE, especially in the current global economic environment?
Yeah, so let's consider how global factors impact on our market, and that is through the foreign investor flow. Now, if you look at our market over the period, traditionally we have had about 40 to 45% of our volumes driven by foreign investors. So when that happens, there's a fairly high dependence on foreign, and whatever happens globally has an impact to our market, because if there are for example something negative that happens within the country or in the region, you will find that foreign investors will tend to take their money out. When that happens, you will find that there's a oversupply of shares and prices will tend to drop, and the market overall will see a decline. So there is a impact when foreigners pull out that money. Similarly, in a situation where there is a demand for our shares and foreign investors start coming into the market, it will drive demand, and again then there will be a increase in the trading volumes and the share prices, and you will find that the market is then on an upward trajectory and doing well. So foreign investment flows have a direct impact on how the market moves. Of course, post-pandemic, we have seen that the foreign investor contribution has declined significantly, and today it's at about 15%. So the effects of global movements in markets and global economy is now lesser than what it was. The impact is lesser. But having said that, certain movements in the US interest rates or the treasury rates will have a impact locally, because if they do raise interest rates in the US, you will find that foreign investors, without opting to invest in markets like Sri Lanka, will move their funds back to the US. So our market will be impacted. So interest rates in that part of the world will have kind of a direct impact to us. If you look at our foreign investor portfolio, of the foreign investor portfolio, about 40 or 45% comes from the US. So it's a fairly significant portion that comes from there. And then you will also find that large institutional foreign investors only drive the market. And generally, when foreign investors have an investment pattern into a market, you will find that local investors also follow suit. So the driving is really done by the foreign investors. Therefore, global, particularly economic factors will affect markets like ours. So in summary, what I can say is global developments, both on the economic front and geopolitical reasons, can have a direct impact on capital markets, particularly on the stock market in Sri Lanka, because of our level of foreign investment in the market.
What are the key strategies CSE is implementing to meet global standards?
So currently we are focusing on sustainability and meeting the SDG goals, and focusing on ESG factors, that is environmental, social and governance factors. So what we are now doing is to encourage our listed companies to embrace ESG reporting, so that overall we will be aligning ourselves in adhering to global standards on sustainability reporting. So over the years, we have been doing a lot of work with professional institutions like the Institute of Chartered Accountants, CMA Sri Lanka, CFA, etc., in promoting good ESG practices among listed companies. And in addition to that, we have also conducted several technical forums in collaboration with international agencies such as the Global Reporting Initiative GRI in encouraging companies to embrace sustainability reporting. And these workshops and the technical capacity building workshops that have been conducted over the years has helped more companies to embrace sustainable reporting. We are also thinking of launching an index for ESG, an ESG index encompassing the top 10 or 20 companies that are reporting and measuring ESG factors. Then in addition to that, we also created a framework for companies to issue green and blue bonds, and we had the first green bond issuance recently by a listed company. Thereby we are encouraging more green funding to be brought into capital markets. So there are a number of issues, there are a number of ways that we are encouraging good sustainable ESG practices in line with the global standards that have been stipulated for green investing. So those are some of the measures that we are currently taking to conform to global standards.
How do the different departments within the CSE collaborate to achieve the exchange's overall mission?
Yeah, so we do a annual strategic plan for the exchange and the market, and we follow a fairly scientific process in developing the strategic plan where we do a SWOT analysis. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats are assessed collectively by the staff comprising of the senior staff first, and then we go through a process of stakeholder consultations where we speak and get feedback from stakeholders as to what they want from the capital market, what the challenges are, etc. And then we formulate an entire strategic plan with a strategic direction being followed, with action plans, with defining key result areas, what the outcomes are, what the goals are, what the targets are, and then finally cascading down to each individual with a KPI or a key performance indicator for each individual. And that plan is rolled out on the 1st of January each year, and that's how we run as an organization based on the targets and the goals that are being set at the beginning of the year. So on an ongoing basis, once the plan is being implemented, there are regular meetings between the different divisions. Now we have 12 divisions within the CSC, and there are heads of division for each of the divisions, and there are 2 or 3 main clusters as well. So there are regular management committee meetings that are held where information is shared, discussed, issues are surfaced and escalated for discussion. Minutes of those meetings are kept and then followed up so that all the actions that are contemplated are taken. So on an ongoing basis this happens, and then the board of directors will meet once a month where a review of all the activities are assessed by the board, reviewed by the board, and certain policy level decisions are also taken and communicated. So we have very efficient manner and structure in which the organization works with a very accountable manner, so that we implement the strategic plan that we plan at the beginning of the year. And then at the end of the year, we do a review. We do a quarterly review as well. And then end of the year, we do a review to see how we have performed as against the initial targets that have been set. So, in summary, all of the divisions cooperate and collaborate very effectively through series of meetings and different engagements and interactions in order to enable the strategies to be implemented.
What is your long-term vision for the CSE? How do you see the market evolving in the next decade?
Yeah, so if you take the market today, currently we are kind of a two-product market. We have equity and debt. So our vision is to diversify the product range, that we offer a greater choice for investors by offering a range of products. Already on the debt side, we have diversified and now offering a range of debt products as well. But we also want to get into the derivatives market, so that we offer a range of instruments for investors and a choice for investors to invest in. Then on the other hand, we also want to broad base the market from its present state into a far more larger, more active, more liquid market. So we want to broad base and get a larger number of both local, institutional and retail and foreign investors also operating in the market. Then the third plan is to also grow the base of listed companies and make the market larger in terms of size and also more liquid in terms of more trading activity, so that there will be better opportunities for both institutional and local retail investors to participate in the market for better returns. Then in addition to that, we also want to place Sri Lanka on the map by encouraging a higher level of foreign investment, because Sri Lanka also needs foreign investment and dollars into the country. So we want to improve our infrastructure in a manner that will enable foreign investors to enter and exit the market in a seamless manner. So those are some of the key decisions we have taken and strategies that we are implementing for the future.
Thank you for joining us in this exploration of the Colombo Stock Exchange. Stay tuned as we continue this series, uncovering the people and policies that shape Sri Lanka's financial markets.